God's chosen one. Not every God can come back from this stage, but you did it twice. There are nights that seem ordinary until time itself pauses for a single second. You don't know why you suddenly hold your breath or why your heart starts to race. But somewhere beyond this thin veil of night, something is calling your name. A voice rises, deep, steady, and filled with authority. God's chosen one. Stop. Tonight is a signal made only for you. You lift your head. The air is still so still you can hear the clock hands sliding past each second. Everything around you seems to hold its breath with you. Tonight, we'll rewrite everything. It's not a metaphor. It's not a distant promise. In this very moment as you listen, the sign has already been sent. A shiver runs down your spine. You don't know if it's fear or if something ancient inside you has just awakened. Stay, because from this moment forward, your story begins to be rewritten. Have you ever wondered why you're still here? After everything that has happened, the times you thought it was over, the days when even the light seemed to abandon you. If you're hearing this now, it is not by accident. There is a reason you are still breathing, still waking up in this chaotic world. Look back as if pulling on the threads of time itself. Those dark, heavy years when you fell, when you lost, when you broke apart. Yet within that tangled fabric, two golden threads began to glow. Twice in two separate moments you were not erased from the flow of existence. The first time when everyone was sure you would never rise again, you stood up. Not by strength, but by a small fire burning quietly inside your chest, a flame that never went out. The second time, even when you stopped believing in miracles, when the world seemed to have closed every door, you were still kept here one more time. People called it a miracle, but in ancient writings, in the research of modern scholars, they call it a sign. They say, only the souls who are chosen can survive the abyss. Twice. The researchers, the spiritual leaders, the ones who once lectured about divine power, now they bow their heads and whisper, this is no coincidence. Something greater is working through this person, and that person is you. Place your hand over your heart. Take a deep breath. Can you feel it? That heartbeat, it's not just life, it's confirmation. You were not chosen because you are perfect. You were chosen because you have been marked to break what others said could never be broken. Tonight, the answer to why you're still here will unfold, and once you understand it, you will never see your life the same way again. Part 1. Twice through the abyss. There are memories that don't belong to time, but to the soul, that silent place where darkness and light meet without sound. If you've ever fallen to the very bottom, you understand there are depths no one can pull you from except for the unseen hand that reached for you from within the void. The first time you fell, the world exploded in silence. No one called your name. No light pierced through the thick fog of despair. Everything shattered your dreams, your faith, even the person you once were. You thought it ended there in the pit of yourself. But just as your final breath was fading, something warm touched your heart. It wasn't someone pulling you up. It was something within you, awakening, strong, gentle, unbreakable. That was the first time you were kept alive. Not by luck, but by destiny. You opened your eyes not in light, but in the ashes of what used to be your life. Everything sacred had turned to dust. Yet in that dust you saw it, a tiny flame still burning. You forced yourself to walk again slowly, uncertainly, as if an invisible force was guiding your steps through the fog. That time you didn't understand why you survived. You only knew you had to keep moving, and so you did with wounded feet, a trembling heart, but a fragile new light of faith flickering inside you. Time passed. Your wounds began to close. You thought you had made it through. You rebuilt part of your life. You learned to smile again, to forget, but your soul did not forget. Somewhere deep within, a whisper lingered, it's not over. Then came the second fall, no warning. no sound. Just one day, the ground beneath you opened again. It wasn't your body that broke this time, it was your spirit. Every belief you had just rebuilt was blown away like dust in the wind. You lost direction, and even the sense of who you were. This time, you didn't even fight. You simply fell quietly, endlessly, deeply. At moments, it felt as if you were dissolving into the dark, every breath swallowed whole by silence. No thoughts, no prayers, just a faint heartbeat, each beat a fragile cry for help. And then within that perfect stillness, a whisper broke through, so small it was almost nothing, but it pierced your very core. Not the end. 3 words, and they shook the universe inside you. You didn't know who said it. Was it the voice of God, an ancient spirit, or your own voice calling from the future? You couldn't tell, but you knew one thing: it was real, more real than anything you had ever heard. And so, like before, warmth rose from the ashes once again. Not a blinding light, but a quiet warmth, like an unseen hand pressed gently over your heart, holding it steady, reminding it to beat again. You began to feel your blood moving. Each pulse whispered back, "I'm still here." You opened your eyes, and this time everything was different. The old world was gone. The limits you once believed in had disappeared. You realized you didn't just survive. You transcended. The first time you were kept alive to live. The second time you were kept alive to understand. Looking back now, you see both moments as marks upon your soul, like 2 wounds that now shine from within. They are no longer proof of pain, but seals of purpose. Those who once knew you say you've changed. They can't explain why. They only see something in your eyes, something deep, still, and ancient, as if you've seen what others never could. You've begun to feel time differently. Each day no longer feels like hours, minutes, seconds. It feels like the breath of the universe expanding and contracting around you. When you walk, the world seems to slow, as if waiting for you to decide its next move. Dreams come more often now. In them, you stand between 2 doors, one of darkness, one of blinding light. And the same voice whispers again, "Not everyone is chosen to fall twice, but the one who falls twice and rises again is no longer mortal." You wake up trembling, sweat cooling your skin, yet your heart is strangely calm. You understand now every sorrow, every loss was never meaningless. They were tests. They were the sacred rituals of your rebirth. They say dying once is the end, but you died twice and still remain. What does that mean? It means you have crossed a threshold even gods fear to approach. It means you have been marked not for comfort, but to accomplish the impossible. Maybe you once blamed fate. You asked, "Why me? Why so much pain?" But when you look back at those 2 abysses, you see it now. Each fall didn't take something from you, it stripped something off you. Each rebirth didn't restore you, it evolved you. The first time you learned how to survive. The second time you learned how to exist with purpose. And now you stand at the edge of the third, no longer the one battling darkness, but the one commanding it. Because only those who have walked through the night truly know the worth of dawn. Only those who have broken completely can hold the light of creation within them. 2 abysses were never a curse. They were keys, one to unlock life, the other to unlock power. Ancient scholars once wrote, "When a soul crosses the boundary of destruction twice, it no longer belongs to the old world. It becomes the bridge between the divine and humankind." They may not know your name, but every line they wrote was about you. Every myth, every prophecy foretold the arrival of one who would survive 2 deaths to rewrite the laws of existence. That one is you. Not because you are stronger, but because your will refused to die. Not because you were fearless, but because you kept walking despite the fear. From those 2 descents, you gave birth to 2 sacred things, a faith that no longer waits for miracles, but becomes one. A light that no longer comes from outside, but burns from within. And now, as you hear these words, remember those 2 moments, not to hurt, but to recognize that you've been prepared for something far greater than anyone else. The old world witnessed your fall, but the new world is waiting for your rise, because the one who has walked through the abyss twice is no longer just a survivor. They are chosen, and tonight, as the distant bell tolls in rhythm with your heartbeat, your soul will remember this is not the end. This is where it all begins. Part 2. The revelation of the ancient texts. The desert lay silent as if time itself had forgotten this place. The wind drifted through carrying grains of golden dust, swirling in slow circles, a dance of memory. Somewhere, amid the sand and stone, an ancient temple slept beneath the dunes, its worn pillars jutting from the earth, relics of a civilization long erased. Inside that temple, scholars cloaked in white bent over an old sacred scroll. The writing carved upon it had nearly vanished, with the centuries leaving only faint traces of symbols. A thin beam of sunlight slipped through the cracks in the wall, touching the parchment, and for a brief moment the letters shimmered as though they were breathing. One scholar whispered, almost trembling, "This is no myth. This is testimony." And in that instant, the entire room seemed to tremble, not from the wind, but from the awakening of meaning buried in those ancient words. They had searched for years across Egypt, Greece, Tibet, Babylon, gathering fragments of a story hidden for thousands of years. Every civilization told of a god, a hero, a being reborn from ashes. Yet none had realized that these were not separate legends, but scattered reflections of the same entity. When the texts were laid side by side, a pattern began to emerge, a golden seam, stitching all myths together like an invisible thread, running through the fabric of time. And at the very center of that tapestry was you. They called you by many names. The Egyptians said Khepera, the one reborn with the dawn. The Greeks called you Phanon, the star that fell but never dimmed. The Babylonians etched into their clay tablets the second one, who rose from the abyss, and the earth trembled beneath their feet. And in the hidden Hebrew scriptures it was written, "The soul tested twice, and the second time, light shall dwell within its bones." These fragments scattered through millennia now fit together, forming a mirror that reflects your face. At first, you couldn't believe it. How could an ordinary soul, scarred and weathered by pain, be the axis of ancient prophecy? But as you read, your spirit began to tremble like a harp string touched by the hand of recognition. Something deep within you remembered. You weren't learning something new. You were remembering what your soul had always known long before your first breath in this life. You reached the final line on the sacred page, faint but still alive. He shall come twice in the form of man, and with each passage through death, the world shall shift one beat closer to awakening. 2 times, 2 abysses, 2 moments you were preserved, and suddenly, everything made sense. What you endured was not random. It was written in the cosmic architecture of the universe. You were never lost, only walking a path buried beneath shadow. From Egyptian carvings to Greek temples, from Sumerian bronze tablets to Vedic hymns, one pattern reappeared. The symbol of 2 intertwining curves, the double spiral representing dual rebirth and the unified soul. That symbol appears everywhere, on cave walls, on bronze drums, in the chants of Himalayan monks. No one knew why. No one understood what it truly meant until the final discovery, a carving of a figure surrounded by a radiant, double-layered halo. They called it the image of the unified one. Neither God nor human, but the bridge between both. A being that feels human pain yet carries divine power. When scholars compared dates, comets, eclipses, and historical events, a chilling pattern emerged. Each appearance of the unified one coincided with a great turning of humanity, the fall of empires, the birth of faiths, the shift of civilizations. And now those same signs are returning. Stars are moving strangely. Seasons are unraveling. Human hearts are waking, and scientists speak of invisible energies connecting all creation. All arrows point to a single moment, the return of the unified one. But what few expected was that this being would not rise upon a throne, nor be born in temples of gold. They would walk among us through loss, through despair, through 2 deaths and 2 resurrections. You need no more proof. The proof is you. Your heartbeat echoes the rhythm of the ancient scrolls. As the light shifts, the words on the parchment begin to change. Their color deepens, as if recognizing the one they were written for. Sunlight spills across your face. You reach out and touch the page. Warmth floods through your body. In that instant, you understand those myths, those prophecies, those forgotten stories. They were never about gods far away. They were about you. You are the unity humankind has sought for ages. You are the thread that binds history's broken fragments. Outside, the desert wind changes direction. It no longer buries the temple, it clears the path. The dust rises in golden spirals, as if the desert itself were bowing in reverence. You close your eyes and visions unfold. The pyramids of Egypt blazing beneath the first dawn. The Parthenon of Greece glowing with white fire. The river Ganges glimmering at sunset. Monks in Tibet releasing thousands of prayer flags into the wind. All merging together, no borders, no separation. And at the center of them, all your silhouette. It was never coincidence that you felt different, that you never fully belonged anywhere. It was never random that you sought meaning in things unseen by others. Your soul was woven from the threads of every age. An elder scholar turns to you, voice trembling with awe. We once thought the myths were mere imagination, until we looked into your eyes. There are things only one who has walked through 2 abysses can carry in their gaze. You do not answer. You simply smile, because you know you need no validation. Truth does not live on their tongues. It lives in your breath. You turn toward the ancient wall map carved in stone. The spiral symbols seem to stir as you approach. At its very center, a mark, not a word but the imprint of a hand. You place your hand upon it. The wind stops. The desert holds its breath. A beam of light rises from beneath the sand, spreading across the land. The old pillars tremble, and the air fills with shimmering dust, a sky of 1,000 tiny stars. In your mind, words form without sound. When the one arrives, the ages shall converge. When the hand is placed, the map shall awaken, and the world will remember its purpose. You open your eyes. The wind returns. The light softens. But inside, you know you are no longer the same. You understand now those scriptures, those myths, those prophecies. They were not stories of others. They were the memories of your own soul. From that moment on, you no longer feel lost, because you have found the map, and its first mark is the 2 abysses. Everything after that is merely continuation. As you step out of the temple, the sun begins to set. The desert glows in shades of crimson and gold. The wind is warm, carrying the scent of dust and dawn. You turn for one last look and see the light etching a double spiral across the temple wall. You smile. Now you know. You were never lost. You were only coming home to the place your soul promised to return. And here in this desert, among the awakening scrolls of time, you realize you are no longer the seeker. You are the answer. Part 3. Time in the hands of the chosen. There are nights when you feel yourself drifting through a dream with no end. Not a dream of the future, but a journey backward into the past, where the memories you thought you had buried rise clear as day. Only this time, they no longer hurt. They are simply waiting to be healed. They say time moves in only one direction, but for you, the one who has crossed the abyss twice, the current has changed. It is no longer a straight river rushing away. It has become a gentle spiral you can step into touch and bend with your intention. When you close your eyes, you see the milestones of your life floating in space like stars suspended in the void. Each star is a memory, a pair of eyes you never got to tell I'm sorry, a dream you abandoned halfway, a wound you thought would never close. They are still there, waiting for a hand to reach them, and now that hand is you. You do not control time, you converse with it. You do not force it into submission, you give it purpose, so it will listen. Because you understand time is not your enemy. Time is the keeper of memory, and you, the chosen, are the one with the right to stitch the tears time left behind. A soft wind passes, not a wind of air, but the breath of the past. You lift your hand, and before you pieces of time separate like thin silk veils, some dark, some radiant, some soaked with tears, some fragrant with hope. You step toward one fragment, the year you lost the one you loved most. The moment is still intact, you on your knees, on cold ground, your shaking hand touching what could not be changed. Back then you raged at heaven and earth. You thought time was cruel, stealing what was most precious. But now you see differently. You see a dim halo around that memory, a gentle light as if someone were holding your hand from the far side of time. You enter the memory not to change it, but to restore its meaning. You do not try to erase the pain. You simply whisper, "Thank you. Because of this loss, I learned to love deeper." The words float out light as breath, and they tremble the river of memory. Suddenly, the scene dissolves, and in its place, warmth spreads through your chest. A tear falls, but it isn't cold. It is warm, born of light. This is the first time you understand what it means to heal time. Other fragments begin to move. Childhood, the wandering years, the wrong turns, the people you lost all return, not to bind you in regret, but to be seen with the eyes you have, now the eyes of one who has crossed the limit. Each time you lay your hand on a fragment, it melts into light and enters your heart. Slowly, the whole space around you brightens, a private cosmos of life scenes, sewn back with understanding. Time is no longer a chain of past, present, future in separate lines. It becomes a symphony, and you are the conductor. Every time you think, every time you love, every time you forgive, new notes are added. And this music doesn't only ring through your life, it spreads into the world around you. As you learn to bend time with purpose, you learn another truth. Nothing is ever truly lost. Everything that has happened remains only changed in shape, changed in meaning, waiting for you to set it in order. You remember sleepless nights, desperate prayers, the times you wanted to let go. Now you see those moments too, are golden threads in your life's tapestry. Without them, the picture would have no depth. Without them, you would never have become the one standing here. You open your eyes, and the world feels newly arranged. Space is no longer linear. Birdsong from the future calls from behind you, while last year's rain falls before your face. All of it blends, not chaotic, but harmonious, like the breathing of the universe. You realize time is a living being, and it is smiling at you, because you have stopped fighting it and begun to collaborate with it. A ray of light traces a ring around your wrist like an invisible watch. But the hands do not move, because you no longer need them. You do not chase time anymore. You hold it not with power, but with understanding. You step onto the invisible bridge between past and present. Below, the river of time runs backward, not in torrents, but smooth as silk, reflecting memories now made whole. Above, the stars rearrange themselves, forming the double spiral you saw in the ancient temple. Every piece of your life, every turning, every pain, every joy, all converge toward a single point, the center of your soul. You smile. For the first time, you feel complete. You don't need to flee the past or fear the future, because all of it rests in the palm of your hand. You stretch out your hand, and in your palm, the light curls like a bright ribbon of water. This is time no longer a stranger, but an old friend returned. You speak softly, a voice as light as the wind. I don't wish to control you. I only wish to understand you. The light quivers, then scatters into 1,000 streams, flying through the air, illuminating every corner of memory you once hid away. Another tear falls, this time a tear of homecoming. From far away, a bell tolls slow and deep, and it joins the rhythm of your heart. There is no line now between the moment and eternity. You, the chosen, are no longer confined by the flow of time. You become the flow itself. And as you walk, each step leaves a trail of light, as if time were blooming beneath your feet. Every petal is a memory sewn back, warm, soft, alive. That night, the world heard nothing, but in the hush of the universe, time bowed before you, because it knew that at last it had met the one who can turn every moment into forever. Part 4. Breaking the sacred law, establishing the new law of gentleness. There is a sound breaking through the air, not thunder, but the crack of an era ending. Marble walls carved with the laws of the ancients begin to fracture. Each crack spreads outward like silent lightning. From within those fissures, radiant golden light seeps through, filling the great hall where the gods once reigned. This is the hall of the sacred laws, a place where for millennia even the divine and the mortal bowed their heads. For ages it upheld the order of the cosmos, the law of fear, of sin, of punishment and repentance. But today at your arrival, the pillars themselves begin to tremble. You walk in barefoot, empty-handed. No crown, no sword, no robe. Only the soft glow that flows from the palms of your hands. The towering statues of the gods gaze down their eyes, burning with fire, voices booming like thunder. Who dares enter this place? This is where divine law was born. Only the gods have the right to decide. You lift your head and your voice is calm. I did not come to destroy. I came to end fear. The words fall gently, yet echo through eternity. The old laws shudder, for they know their time has come to an end. Since the dawn of ages, sacred laws were created not only to protect order, but to bind humanity in fear. People were taught that only guilt, penance, and obedience could make them worthy to exist. The gods held power to bless or punish, and fear became the foundation of faith. But you, the one who has crossed the abyss, twice the one who has held time in your hand, you no longer fear. You understand that true power does not come from domination, but from understanding. And because you understand, you have been chosen to break the sacred law, not through rebellion, but through gentleness. A deeper crack splits the air. One of the central pillars breaks in two and collapses. From the dust, a small green shoot emerges, a fragile leaf, trembling yet holding the life of spring itself. The hall quakes. The gods bow their heads, not in anger but in reverence, for they see. This is the one who breaks the law without destruction, the one who ends fear through tenderness. You step into the center of the hall and place your hand upon the stone tablet of the old laws. The ancient inscriptions tremble, fade, and are replaced by new letters written in light. No soul shall be judged by fear. No one shall kneel for the sins of their ancestors. Every being has the right to return to the light without passing through the gates of shame. And thus a new law is born, not written in commands, but in love and responsibility. No more punishing gods, no more trembling humans, only souls remembering who they truly are. A scholar once said, "If there are no laws, the universe will fall into chaos." But you smile and answer, "No chaos begins only when humanity forgets that gentleness is strength." You know your power could shake worlds, but you choose not to use it to impose. You let it flow like water, quiet, patient, transforming everything it touches. A warm wind moves through the hall. The cold stone turns from gray to ivory. From every crack, tiny flowers bloom. Where the throne once stood, a luminous garden grows. You stand in the middle of that garden. The breeze brushes your skin, and the light glimmers like the breath of life. The new law is no longer written in stone. It is expressed in how all things move together in harmony. No one above, no one below, only companionship. You take a deep breath. Pure air fills your lungs. For the first time, you feel truly light, as if an invisible weight has fallen from your shoulders. You understand now even the sacred laws, though divine, had become chains. They once had purpose, but their purpose is complete. The world no longer needs more decrees of fear. The world needs hands that can touch without hurting. And you are those hands. The light from the garden spreads outward beyond the hall, across mountains, seas, and skies. Wherever it travels, people feel something shift. Fear begins to fade, and a quiet warmth fills their hearts. In distant temples, priests lift their heads, feeling a wind they cannot explain. In crowded cities, those burdened by life suddenly feel an urge to smile, to forgive, to embrace. No one knows why. They only know that peace has begun to return. Because the old law has dissolved, and the new one, the law of gentleness, has been born. The old law taught mankind to fear in order to be saved. The new law teaches them to love in order to be free. The old law divided sacred versus mortal right versus wrong reward versus punishment. The new law unites all are one, and every mistake is only a step in evolution. You turn back to the garden in the hall. At its center, where the god's throne once stood, now lies a crystal-clear pool. You lean over it and see your reflection, no longer the face of one who has suffered, but the calm gaze of one who knows the strength of compassion. You touch the water. Ripples spread outward, carrying the universe's new promise. From this moment forward, all power shall move through gentleness. And you know this is not merely your vow. It is the covenant between humanity and the cosmos, signed not in ink, but in breath, in light, and in infinite mercy. Above you, the sky shifts color. Stars blaze brighter, bearing witness to the birth of a new age. The hall, once filled with thunderous voices, is now still not in death, but in meditation. No more lightning, no more decrees, only sacred silence. You walk out through the open gates into the dawn. Behind you, the old hall fades not into ruin, but into earth, becoming the seedbed of a new world. You glance back, once exhale softly. The feeling is like releasing a burden carried for lifetimes. No more pressure to be worthy, no more terror of divine judgment. Only the freedom of a soul aligned with light. And from that moment on, each step you take plants a new seed in the ground. Where you walk, fear dissolves and gentleness blooms. No one calls you a god. No one bows before you. They simply feel peace, and within that peace, they recognize the divine in themselves. For that is the new law you have written. There is no above, no below. No one must fear, no one must beg. Simply live in gentleness, and within it, power will move on its own. A new era begins not with thunder, but with a single breath, not with conquest, but with the quiet liberation of love. And at the center of it all, you, the chosen one, smile. Because at last you understand breaking the sacred law was never rebellion, it was freedom, and gentleness is the highest form of power. Part 5. Dawn of a New Age. The edge of the sky is turning light. After a long night, the earth seems to hold its breath, waiting for the first moment of the new day. Thin rays slip through the clouds and touch the treetops still jeweled with dew. The first birds begin to sing, not to shatter the silence, but to welcome another Genesis, your Genesis. You stand at the doorway, fingertips resting on the cold metal knob. Behind you is the old night memories stitched back together, sacred laws dissolved into light. Before you is dawn, its shape not yet known. yet shining with a light that feels near true and whispering, "Step forward." On the other side is your truest self rewritten. You inhale deeply and open the door. Light pours in warm and clear as spring water. In that light you realize everything is different, not because the world has changed, but because you have. Once you saw life as a chain of things to endure. Now you see meaning inside the ordinary. Every person you meet, every word spoken, every event, each is a tessera in the mosaic of awakening. Light glitters across rooftops. On the street, people begin their day. A woman pushes a cart. A child laughs chasing a cat. An old man lifts his face to the sky. You witness these small things, and warmth rises quietly within you. There is no more distance, no more feeling of being other. You are not above them, you are with them. For this new world does not divide God from human high, from low. It is woven with the threads of gentleness you have brought. You turn toward your family, those who once hurt you, who once left you feeling misplaced. But today, when you look at them, you no longer see fault or regret. You see souls learning their own lessons, just as you learned yours. You step closer, no speech is needed, and simply say, "I'm okay now, and I forgive." No one answers right away, but in their eyes you see something soften like mist dissolving in sunlight. And in your own heart, a tight knot loosens so lightly it almost makes you weep. At work, the tensions, rivalries, and old ambitions are still there, but you no longer see them as enemies. You understand that everyone is walking their own path, sometimes clumsy, sometimes mistaken, just as you once were. So instead of resisting, you begin sowing gentleness into small, ordinary acts. A sincere thank you, a listening gaze, a patience that needs no proof. And something strange begins to happen. The atmosphere shifts. Those who were harsh become softer. Conversations grow more genuine. Work, once a burden, becomes the ground where you plant light. You no longer work to prove your worth. You work to let your living radiance move into the world. You realize a new season isn't a new job success or status. A new season is when you walk into the same place with a different heart, and suddenly everything is fresh, as if it has just now begun to exist. With yourself, you no longer hunt for definitions. You no longer strain to become someone. You have come home to yourself, the one once chosen, once descended into the abyss, once broke the old law, and now simply lives each moment fully. You glance into the small mirror by the door. Soft gold light rests on your face. No halo, just a quiet smile. In your eyes is something deeper than power, absolute freedom. You remember the path you've taken, the desert, the hidden temple, the faded scriptures, the shattered sacred pillars, the luminous garden rising. None of it was to make you a god. It was to reveal the worth of compassion, of gentleness, of life itself. Now, as dawn spreads to the horizon's farthest edge, you sense the world being rewritten with you. Children laugh more freely. Grown hearts begin to listen. Souls once locked shut begin to open, as if the gentleness you sowed has sprouted everywhere. Above the sun speaks its final assurance. The old age has ended. A new age of light and mercy has begun. You close your eyes and listen to the world breathing. Each breath syncs with your heartbeat, as though the whole universe now moves in one rhythm. In that rhythm, you know you are no longer the seeker. You are the one leading by gentleness. Now you understand all you endured. The suffering, the rebirths, the revelations. The breaking of the old law was never wasted. They were necessary chapters teaching you how to bring dawn to others. You step out onto the porch and let the light touch your face. Warmth spreads through your body, not only sunlight but the universe's confirmation. You have been rewritten not in letters but in living energy. A soft breeze passes carrying the scent of new blossoms. You lift your head and smile. Before you, the road opens wide, leading toward the rising sun. You do not know where the future will take you, and that no longer matters. For the first time, you know you are exactly where you are meant to be. You whisper half to yourself, half to the world. Thank you for letting me live to see this moment. Thank you for letting me witness the dawn. And in that instant, as light floods in and the world awakens, something deep within you rises. Light as breath, yet mighty as thunder. I am the chosen one. I am no longer bound by the dark. I am my own dawn. You step forward. The door closes behind you, not to divide, but to mark a new chapter in the history of your soul. And the world, moving with your breath, begins this new age in the light of gentleness. Silence gathers. Candlelight shimmers softly across the walls like small souls dancing in the hush. The music is tender, slow, and deep, each note a breath of the universe gentle weighted with the holy. You close your eyes and let your breath join that rhythm. All the noise fades. Only you, the candle, and the heartbeat in your chest remain. A voice speaks slow and warm. Chosen one, you have never been forgotten. A sacred pause. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. The words move like a breeze, yet fill the whole room, filling even the secret places of your soul, where wounds once hid, where you once believed you were invisible, abandoned, left behind. Now each word is a small flame, warming them back to life. Breathe in, deeply, hold for 3 heartbeats, and exhale slowly. The voice continues like a whisper from above. When the impossible knocks, do not fear. You carry no curse. You carry the seal of a new season. Outside, the wind nudges the candle, but the flame does not die. It merely sways, then stands steady again like you after every storm. You have been called, you have been preserved, and now you are sent not to prove anything, but to bring gentleness wherever night still lingers. Another silence. The music fades until only your heartbeat remains. Place your hand over your heart. Feel its rhythm. This is more than life. This is a signal. The voice leans close, almost touching your soul. Breathe deeply 3 times. Each breath is an affirmation. Inhale, I am still here. Hold, I am chosen. Exhale, I am ready. A tear may fall not from pain, but because you realize you have come home. And when you whisper gently, I receive, the space around you seems to open wider, brighter, more at peace. That is when you understand no ending is truly an ending. Every ending is the beginning of a brighter chapter, and you are the one who carries that light. Remember, it is not a coincidence that you heard this message. It is not random that your heart trembled as you listened. This was sent to you for this time. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, and the season has begun. The music slowly lifts like dawn opening on the horizon. If this message touched you, let it become your confirmation. Type Amen or 1111 below. It's more than a comment, it's a seal sent into the universe that you have heard, understood, and are ready. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so when the next calling is sent, you will be the first to hear it. And if someone comes to mind, someone at the edge, lost in the dark, share this message with them. Sometimes a single word like this is enough to lead them back to the light. When you do, the universe smiles. Because you are not only the chosen one, you have become the one who awakens other chosen ones. The candle flickers, once then dissolves into the gentle light of morning. Everything returns to quiet, but you are no longer the same. You know the journey has begun again from within. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, and this is your new dawn.